All right, let's talk about Cam Ward. We got to see Cam Ward in an actual NFL game, so let's talk about it going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And one thing is, he was taking chances. You know, some guys are into preseason, they're trying to just make sure they look good, protect the football, don't want the bad play to happen. Ward was out there and he was competing. This play, for example, zone coverage concept, you have a receiver running a route. It's Calvin Ridley trying to get into a gap in coverage. When this play begins, it's a good route by Ridley. He beats the corner, or is about to beat the corner, but you see there is another defensive back that you have to get the ball over if you're going to get this to Calvin Ridley. So this is not as open as maybe you would like. And watch this. I mean, that defender nearly got his hand on it. I will actually say this is an example of maybe not quite realizing just how good NFL defensive backs are. You kind of have to play against them to fully get it. In college, this is the right way to make this throw. You want to get that ball a little bit higher, actually, in the NFL. Because, again, corners can just cover so much ground. So, still a good throw. You made it work, but ultimately, it didn't have to be that close. There was some space over. But again, taking chances, firing the ball, making the completion. Not going to complain about that too much. Also, this next play, this is just a straight-up example of some good stuff here by Cam Ward. So what's going to happen is this is a man coverage concept that Tampa Bay is going to be in right here. Again, Ward already likes Calvin Ridley. That's where he's going to look. The route you see on your screen is Calvin Ridley's route. Ward takes a snap, has a clean pocket, is going to fire this one down the field. Again, this is a smart play. It's a good route against this coverage, and it's your number one receiver, so definitely makes sense to look in this direction. And you see, there is a window, but it's not a huge window, right? You do have to make an accurate throw if this is going to be complete. However, it is an accurate throw, and it is complete. So some really good stuff here from Cam Ward to pull this kind of thing off. So, yeah, again, this is what you like to see. So, when I'm watching this live and I'm thinking like, man, maybe this guy just has it. Again, I try not to get too, I try not to let the emotions go too much in preseason because obviously it's all exciting at the time, but it is just one preseason game. It only means so much. But still, he's feeling himself. He's looking good. But having the gunslinger mentality has multiple, it can make positives happen. It can also make negatives happen. So let's head over to one of those, a play that ultimately was not a negative, but is still a negative. I'm counting this as a negative. What's going to happen here is it's again a zone coverage concept, looking at an outside receiver on this play. This time it's actually not Calvin Ridley who's running the route. Instead it's Alec Anyomayer, I forgot how to say his name. During the draft, I got it down and then I forgot it, so I apologize. But nonetheless, player they drafted who people are very excited about. So sure, let's check it out. It's a route that you can see how it could work for a moment on this play. Ward takes the snap. You're going to see that when he looks over. Again, I'm not going to say this isn't open. Like you can try and make this work, but you really have to get this up if you're going to make this throw happen. There is not a big window at all. And again, NFL corners just close way better than, college corners do unless they're like elite college players, because elite college players get drafted to the NFL, right? As you see here, this should have been picked. It was, the defensive back got both hands on it. That's where, everyone gets to make the joke of if you had hands, you'd play receiver, right? Which is unfair because there's, slightly different skill set in corner and receiver. But nonetheless, it's, he's taking chances, trying to fit the ball through a tight window. And again, you can do that. That's just not the way to make that throw. Corners they're just better, on this level of competition. And hey, this is why you play preseason, right? He'll learn from this. He'll, in practice say, oh, okay, got to get these balls a little bit higher and then go from there. So, yeah. I will say, though, this next play, really good resolve by Cam Ward. Really, I think this was good stuff. So, it's a 3rd down and 9. He nearly threw a pick. You're in field goal range. A lot of guys would maybe be, a little bit more cautious in this situation, but that is just not in his DNA. And that's one of the things I love about him. He is a gamer through and through. This next play is a zone coverage concept. You do have a receiver who's going to try and get, into a gap in coverage just past the first down marker right here, but it's tough. The defense knows where the first down marker is, right? However, when this play begins, it's a well-ran route. Defense could have been a little bit quicker there. Again, you get some preseason backup level defense. You got to take advantage of it if you're a quarterback here. But still, nonetheless, I mean, I will say one of the constant criticism I bring up when I'm talking about young quarterbacks playing in the preseason is they're always late. You know, the NFL game moves so much quicker, even in preseason. It always feels like they're, a tick late or half a tick late. Here, Cam Ward, he's not late at all. Gets the ball over there right when you need to. They get the first down on a 3rd and 9. And again, I think for a lot of young quarterbacks, they throw that one a little bit later. It probably still gets complete, but they don't quite get the first down. It's like 4th and 1, and everyone says, everyone blames the receiver, right? In this situation, that is not what happened. Cam Ward, right on the money, especially right after throwing what should have been a pick. It's good stuff. A couple plays later, this would happen. This is now a 3rd down and 5 situation. Just a mesh concept here against man coverage, actually. But nonetheless, crossing routes over the middle, those can be effective. Ward takes the snap, and you see right here, again, this is the correct route to throw to here, right? This is an opportunity to potentially make this work. It's Tyler Lockett. Yes, Tyler Lockett plays for the Titans. He's going from the offense's right to the offense's left. There is a potential window to make this work. You want to hit him in stride, though, to make sure you pick up the first down. 3rd and 5, or 3rd and 6. You definitely don't want to just get the completion here. But that's what Ward does. He reads it well, gets the ball over there. So ultimately, Ward looked very calm and composed. Ward was one mistake away from a awesome day, but ultimately he did make that mistake. So yeah, ultimately, I thought this was a good performance from Cam Ward. You want to see him get those, really just understand how good NFL corners are, and especially in zone coverage, you're used to the windows being a certain way, and the way he's making these throws are ways that have worked through his entire life playing football. So it's weird to basically spend your entire life training yourself to do one thing and having to adjust it at the next level. And that's kind of part of why evaluating quarterbacks is so difficult, and figuring out who's going to be a good quarterback at the next level and who isn't is so difficult, because you don't know who's going to actually make that transition well and who isn't going to make that transition well. It really is a guessing game. So from that perspective, it's you know there's going to be something like that, right? You know there's going to be those little things. It's all about how he adjusts to it. So am I concerned at all that he has those little mistakes? No. And again, the arm talent was awesome. He was making a lot of really good throws. I think this was very much a positive performance. But just touching on a negative, what's going to separate him and what's going to turn him into either a great player or just an okay player at the next level is going to simply be how he adjusts to the mistakes that or how he adjusts to how he was making those throws, and that's just kind of the case with every young quarterback. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Cam Ward and how he played. Let me know in the comments below, what were your thoughts? Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.